All right, everyone, you are about to come in for another YouTube Full Spectrum Survival Live. We're going to talk about the troops that are being deployed to the U.S. border right now. U.S. troops on our soil, protecting our country. We have a lot of other things happening with foreign aid. Let's get to some of these topics. Thank you guys, everybody, for being here. Make sure that you leave a message down in the comments if you're watching this live with us today about where you're calling in from. Maybe it's from the state that you're in, maybe the region that you're in. If you have anything that's happening in your area, please let us know. All right, so let's see what's going on today. State Department issuing widespread pause on foreign aid. Now, we knew this was coming at an official level because Trump made it so. Secretary of State Marco Rubio halted all spending on the majority of existing foreign aid grants for 90 days. Now, we know that they're taking your money and they're sending it to all of these countries through the shell corporations, putting it back into their pockets. They issued diplomatic and consular posts, ads saying that this was happening. There were stop work orders. So that was basically immediately you have to stop. Going further than President Trump's recent executive order, that instructed the department to then pause foreign aid for 90 days. This is a stop work order. Basically, stop what you're doing right now. Everything is changing. Now, I don't know where you're at in a position of, what happened in North Carolina, what happened in Louisiana, what's happening right now in California. But for me, we need to see a lot of change in this country, because if we don't start seeing this change, we are going to have civil unrest. We are going to have civil war in this country. So it's really important that we start to see it. Let's see. Let's do a couple of call-ins. We've got Mr. Landfill. How is everyone? We're doing good today. Let's see. Patricia, Central Louisiana. I'm sure it's still colder than usual for you there. Connecticut, Brandon. Hey, Greg. Good to see everybody. So I'm glad you guys are coming in here. Two former Biden administration officials said that the pause to stop the aid to key allies like Ukraine and Jordan and Taiwan. Now, if we don't get something else started with Taiwan, we're going to have big trouble there, because China is going to see that as a reason to immediately push in. Now, we're going to have to do something different than what we have been doing, which is funneling Asian money. We're going to have to do something different, but I think that we are going to see a change there. The guidance, they say, opens up the U.S. government to civil liability. Sure, it does. Ain't no one coming after the U.S. government because we stopped giving your tax money to the Ukrainians. Store closures hitting their highest levels. Now, remember, guys, these live shows, these are the things that aren't necessarily going to make their way into the broadcast, the daily broadcast, because even though they're important, they're not necessarily the things that you need to get to the store and get food for. Go to the self-defense store and pick up a couple of extra boxes of our favorite kind of precious metal, and that's brass and lead. So these are the things that are other things that are happening. Hey, Red Hot Gaming Fire. Store closures hitting the highest level since the pandemic. So they're going to talk about some of these closures. 15,000 this year. Striking number reflects the divide between retailers. Now, they say some of them are gaining market share. We know that you're going to see a lot of shutdowns here. A lot of people are going to be put out of business. Party City, Big Lots, Walgreens, 7-Eleven, Macy's, just to name a few of them. In line with pre-pandemic holiday spending, specialty retailers are struggling the most. The Container Store filed for bankruptcy. Big Lots new owner in the middle of the efforts. They said that it's all but over. Dollar Tree, that's another thing we're going to see. If you really have any disbelief that we have at least 25% inflation in the USA, all you need to do is remember the Dollar Tree is not a dollar anymore. They have run their entire business model on being $1, a single dollar for whatever's in the store. Now it's $1.25, and there's $5 aisles, and there's $15 aisles. It's really crazy. Let's move forward. Trump revoking security protection for Fauci after COVID. He revoked the security protection for the used to be U.S. top health official. They say that he faced death threats and all these different things. Now, let me tell you something. If you are in a position where you're telling people to make certain decisions for themselves, you're scaring them that grandma's going to die if she doesn't do this, and then they do this for grandma, and grandma has a stroke or grandma has whatever, there's a lot of angry people. They are coming out with their pitchforks, with their torches, and they're looking for Shrek. Now, Trump says, Shrek, you don't have any more security detail. Now, we just learned that Putin wanted to go in there and pull over FAUCI over to Russia. They're going to call it crimes against humanity. I don't know. All I know is me personally, I don't want none of their business. I don't want any of what they've got going on. So he says you can't have a security detail for the rest of your life just because you work for government. That's what Trump told reporters. He also revoked the security protection from Mike Pompeo, his former national security advisor, John Bolton, the envoy, Brian Hook. They all continue to face threats. Well, you make a lot of enemies, don't you? And now you've got to kind of, it's called digging your own grave, right? Or making your own bed. And now you have to sleep in it. So if you made a decision like some of these people did to take a big old healthy excrement in your bed, now you've got to sleep in it. They wrote, I wish him nothing but peace, but he needs to pay for his own limos. Isn't that nice? That's Kentucky Senator Rand Paul calling for Fauci's security detail to be revoked. Under U.S. protocol, former presidents and their spouses are granted protection for life, but protection for other officials is based on threat assessment from the intelligence community. All right, let's move forward. Mississippi bill going to pay bounty hunters to catch people who are in this country illegally. I can't wait. I grew up in a day and age. I watched a lot of Dog the Bounty Hunter. I don't know if you guys watched Dog the Bounty Hunter, but that dude, he made a good TV show. Darn good TV show, in my opinion. So Dog the Bounty Hunter, I'm waiting to see the next bounty hunter. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be a celebrity? Are we going to have some sort of other bounty hunting going on? I want to see it. I want it televised. I want it on Twitter. I want it on YouTube. And I want to watch these guys actually go in and get criminals off the streets. That's important to me. Bahamas, 71 degrees and eggs stand at $9.50 a dozen. Yeah, Dog the Bounty Hunter, he was the man. Too bad he went through a little bit of hardship in his own, but, you know, you do catch a little bit of too much problems there. So they want to offer a $1,000 reward for registered bounty hunters. So it's not just the crazy crackhead down the street trying to get his grand. No, it's got to be a registered bounty hunter. Not that, you know, you can't have a crackhead bounty hunter. It says they will facilitate the deportation, which will be funded by the General Assembly, administered by the state treasurer. When President Trump took office, he immediately recognized, this is according to a report, the emergency at our borders, rolling out executive orders, combating illegal immigrants and cartels. Now that's where you catch me really feeling a certain way about it. We need to get the organized criminal activity. We can all feel bad for somebody who just wanted to do better for their family. They couldn't afford whatever means. But when you've got just a free and open pass and you've got these organized criminal entities who are coming in and targeting we, the people, then we've got a big problem. And it says it right here, legal immigration is a cornerstone of America. We must ensure that our borders are secure and the safety of Mississippians comes first. I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on that? The Interior Department advanced the restoration of historic names honoring American greatness. Now, this is DOI.gov, U.S. Department of the Interior. What's it saying? Gulf of America. So we have a whole shift here. You're going to see the maps. You're going to see the globes. You're going to see everything changed because all these countries are suddenly going to begin to realize that America is, once again, hopefully, going to be a country that has to be respected. We've lost respect. I mean, you go anywhere, nobody respects the Americans. Now, you go to India, somewhere like actual India, they respect the heck out of the Europeans, especially the Brits. Respect the heck out of them. And the Americans, they will spit on you in other countries because you're American. We have Americans going over there and lying and saying they're from Canada, just so that they don't get disrespected or violently targeted. We need to bring that respect back. Sometimes that respect comes in different forms. You can have respect in ways that are like, all nice. Oh, look at how great that country is. And then you can have respect like, you don't want to mess with that country. It's kind of like Florida man. I'd rather be Florida man than the America we were for the last 4, 8, even 12 years. Seems like we've been losing respect over and over again. I'd rather be the Florida man where you're like, America's crazy, but I'm not messing with America, man. That's where we need to be at the very least. Hopefully our respect will come with a little bit of, positive change. So the U.S. Board of Geographic Names, under the purview of the Department of the Interior, working to expeditiously update the official nomenclature of the Geographic Names Information System, reflecting changes like the Gulf of America, formerly known as the Gulf of Mexico. I don't know if you know how important it is, how vital it is to have this sort of information on the DOI.gov website. It's really important because it shows an official standing behind of change. Mount McKinley, North America's highest peak, stands as a monument. McKinley, they're just going to make some change about that. Hey, Tactical Pat, and hey, everybody in the chat. We're glad to have you. We've got almost 900 people here in tonight's live show concurrently. So right now, thank you guys for being here and taking the time out of your day to spend a little bit of time with us, the community here. So let's move past what we're doing here with the Gulf of America. NBC would love me to allow their ads to go through, but there's a little trick on websites. If you don't want an ad to go through, I don't even know if I can say this on YouTube, but it just so happens if I personally refresh my page and hit escape, the scripts they're running to make that ad pop up go away. So that's for me personally. You guys can do whatever you want. Donald Trump visiting storm-ravaged parts of North Carolina. I've got some video up here on one of these tabs of the devastation that still exists inside of North Carolina. It's crazy. I mean, what's going on there is absolutely insane. Asheville, Trump said he plans to overhaul the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA. Economic loss from the Palisades in California. Yeah, FEMA is not doing it, folks. They said, I think we're going to recommend that FEMA goes away, Trump said in Asheville, North Carolina. I think that was just today. So that FEMA goes away. Now, I don't know about you, but in our community, here in the preparedness community, no one has had a good word to say about FEMA for a very long time. FEMA and camp were two things that you did not want to talk with your family about. FEMA and, other things were not things that you wanted to discuss. So maybe we'll see some change here for the better. Somebody asked, hey, brother, are you going to do more survival videos like Nate suggested? Yeah, so we have a plan. Now, it's cold. It's cold right now, guys. Like, it is, it's shrivel up kind of cold outside. It's old lady hands kind of cold outside. So I'm not going to be out there yet. But in a couple of weeks, we've got some big plans. So I'm hoping to bring those out. 71 degrees. Does it get cold there? I think, speaking of the Bahamas, Tamala says, nice shout out from Northern Oregon. Now, is it Oregon or Oregon? People get mad at me, and they get really mad when I say it. Thanks, Red Hot Gaming. Really appreciate it. Red Hot Gaming Fire, are you into video gaming? What are you into? What are you playing right now? I've got a video right here of Kelly. So my wife, Kelly, and we like to do our chores, do our preps, and relax, right? And have fun. And so we were having fun last night playing with one of our kids. We were playing Black Ops. And Kelly wiped the board of the other team because we play multiplayer. So here's her. I'll see if you guys can see it. She was the top of the leaderboard. So the top of the leaderboard means you got more than anyone else, on the team. So great job to my wife there. And we like to have fun doing that. Yeah, way to go, Kelly. So Trump said that he plans to take executive action, overhauling or ending the Federal Emergency Management Agency, slamming the agency, which they deserve. They deserve more than a little public rebuking. They deserve a whole lot of change. Thank you so much, Matthew, Brad, the powerhouse, and his thinker. Yeah, that's right. It's a favorite game of mine and my daughter. That's awesome. Yeah, guys, you got to have fun. I don't care how you have fun. If it doesn't hurt you or hurt someone else, do it. The group will be redirected to deliver Trump a report on FEMA that includes recommended changes or ditch the agency all together. Yeah, Victor says, who was the president the last time we locked down in this country? And don't get me wrong. Yeah, Trump's in there doing some good stuff right now. I don't like any politician. You won't find me being a Trumper. You won't find me being anything. But if somebody's doing it right, I'm going to be like, okay, I hope that keeps up. Because that's what being a prepper is about, right? That's what being a survivalist. You hope for the best, but you prepare for the worst. So we're doing a lot of things with AI. We're going to be an AI top dog soon. But I'm preparing for when that comes to bite you and me, we the people, in our behind. I'm preparing for what comes after a FEMA nixing might be worse. So don't get me wrong. We do have to continue to watch what's happening no matter what. After so many bad YouTubers, I researched the topics and articles covered. Your subject matter comes across as well-researched, thoughtful, and you speak a lot better than Gen Z forward. Yeah, well, Melissa, thank you so much. That really is a heartfelt compliment, so I appreciate it. Needing some snow in Wisconsin. I guess go down to Florida and get your snow, because it missed us at the southern end of the Appalachians and went straight down to the Florida line. Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe to these videos, especially, YouTube lives go a little bit on a different algorithm, a different way that they're disseminated to YouTube. So like this video, leave a comment. All those things really help us. So Trump's saying all this. I don't think we need to cover it too much more. Let's see what Target is doing. Target rolling back their initiatives for diversity. Why do you think that is? Anytime. I don't care, you're going to find people, what do they call the people who believe you can just breathe or get sunlight? Breatharians, right? Let's look up what a breatharian is. Okay, so a breatharian is the belief that a person can live without food or water. It's a very small number of people, of course, and that's what I'm getting at here. You have a small number of people, and if Target and the government was like, well, we need to consider that everybody should be a breatharian, so we're getting rid of, your lunch hour. Because you should be able to, just as the breatharians say, you should be able to survive without lunch. That's kind of what happened over the last 4 to 8 to 12. Ever since Twilight came out, guys, it was a whole different world out here. I know I'm going to catch a lot of heat. My wife loves the movies Twilight. She said they're nothing like the book. She said the books were a lot less skittled. They were a lot less skittled and rainbow, tasting the rainbow, than the movies were. But ever since those movies came out, we did have a whole shift in our world. And that's just in my head that I placed that timeline, right? That's correlation, not causation. So the correlation is that around the time that the Metros came out, and I'm sure you guys, I'm old enough to remember what a metrosexual was. I'm sure a lot of people here are. Around the same time that Twilight came out, you had a whole shift in what was going on. And they were going to do this type of thing where if they wanted to believe everyone was a breatharian, they would take away your lunch hour. They would take away your smoke break or your 15-minute break. Why? For the very, very few. We can't do that kind of thing. We have to remember, the government doesn't want us to remember that it's in coordination with each other that we're powerful. They want divide. They want pull everyone apart. No, it's us, we the people. So we have to think about those types of things. So Target decided to roll back their initiatives, their equity and inclusion programs, joining major companies like Walmart, Facebook, McDonald's. They're going to hem-haw, they're going to say sorry to the people who it makes upset. But let's face it, at the end of the day, we need to consider that we are a country of many different people. And everybody deserves, don't get me wrong, everyone deserves respect. I deserve respect for my baldness, I guess. You deserve respect for your ideologies. Now, throw something crazy out here in the chat, but keep it YouTube friendly. Throw something crazy out here in the chat that you deserve. The flat earthers, definitely. I respect them because I haven't been up in space. Maybe if I go up into space and I look down and I'm like, y'all are crazy. But until then, I'm like, hey, maybe. I don't know. Doesn't change my way of thinking. But if you want to be there, then be there. Now let's move forward because I feel like at any moment I can feel the YouTube mods looking at us and they're not too happy. So don't write about the laptop. Don't talk about the laptop. Okay, so this was an important little bit of information. 2 former Politico reporters. They came out and they said that they were not allowed to talk negatively about anything about the last administration. It's like we're living in the movie Idiocracy. Yeah, I didn't see anyone say anything too crazy. Yeah, cool if it's flat, cool if it's round, whatever. I'm good with either way. We can do whatever we want. Their conversation on a recent podcast shows that the media was not allowed to talk negatively about the administration. So we had huge amounts of censorship going on. And this is way too much to get into. I mean, they're just kind of tooting their own horn here. They want to hear themselves talk, but let's move past it. The NATO chief. Okay, let me do that little thing that I said maybe it'll work for you and not for anyone else. The NATO chief says he's very happy with Trump's sanctions to Russia. Isn't it funny how everyone's changing their tune? NATO, all these other European countries, they were all the disrespect that they showed Biden and they showed America. I mean, they had this old dude crunched down in a corner behind all these other tiny countries, behind all these other countries that had no real pull in the world. They had America way in the back, hiding like a disheveled little old, old person. That needed to be over. You saw everybody disrespecting America. So now we're seeing a little bit of things changing here. Indiana. So if anyone else in Indiana, shout it out in the comments. 50-50 is good with me from Canada down there. Tennessee. How are you doing in Tennessee? Okay, so NATO Secretary General hailed newly inaugurated President Trump, saying that we could expect more tariffs. I was very happy with the position of Trump, he says, to put more sanctions on Russia. Now, Trump did say he was going to get the war over with in 24 hours. I expect that he wanted a deal that never could come to fruition. I'd hoped, of course, but there's too much money playing in there. And when this is not just your and my tax money. You got big dogs out there with money invested in this war because they want Ukraine's lithium deposits. They want Ukraine's farmland. They want Ukraine's ability to work outside of NATO. And then you've got the investment into Russia. So I don't expect that it will be over, but I do think we're going to see some change soon. Thank you, Joseph. I really appreciate that. New Hampshire, Pensacola, Florida there, Southern California, or Colorado checking in. We do need interest rates to drop, but unfortunately, they are not going to yet. Look at this. This is kudzu. If you guys know what kudzu is is an invasive plant. They try to kill it on every farm that it's in. But did you know, and it's from Asia, but did you know kudzu has one of the largest protein percentages of all wild growing invasive vines and plants? It has taken over the forests around here, the national forests. But if we just use it to feed our animals, we can get them off of the nasty stuff that we are feeding them right now. Upper Michigan, hey, Port Richey, Florida, not too far from where I grew up. Every part of the plant of kudzu is edible. Now, it does have like a little hairy substance on it. You do have to prepare it. You're not just going to go in there and just eat it, but every part of it, it's really high protein, really great product there. So I'm glad I have it nearby because I go and collect it, chop it up, give it to the chickens, can give it right to the goats. You can put it for every grazing animal, and you and me as human beings can eat it. It's human digestible. Don't smash anything, it'll break. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. There's the breatharians. Kudzu. So this is interesting. Chemtrails. You can't say that word. And in fact, they're going to hate that I even just said that. But you can say things like engineering, weather modification, atmosphere manipulation. Those are terms that are used at a university level, a government level. So this is a 2018 published paper talking about California wildfires and the role of undisclosed atmospheric manipulation and geoengineering. Now, hold on. This is 2018. So we're going back, we're at 25 now. So we're going back 7 years talking about the role of undisclosed atmospheric manipulation and geoengineering. This is from the Florida Department of Health in Monroe County. Let's read just a little bit. Forest combustibility is increased by moisture-absorbing aerosolized particles that damage the waxy coatings of leaves and needles, reducing their tolerance to drought. The aerial climate manipulation using coal fly ash greatly increases the potential for forest fire ignition by lightning. So Tennessee on record went out there. Hey, Nemesis, no problem. Better late than never. Tennessee went on record, and Tennessee was like, nope, we're not going to do any of that. We're not spraying anything. They were one of the only countries, states out there in our country that would do it. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that they are actually doing something in the air? We'll just have to see. On U.S. passports, as you can see, there's huge change coming. On U.S. passports, you used to be able to say something like other. Well, other is no longer an option. You're an M or you're an F. You're a male, you're a female. So big changes all across the board there. This is the aerial view I was talking to you about earlier. We are living on a roller coaster. It is crazy. We're up and down every day. Okay, Nemesis, no problem. So this is the aerial view. Trump went into North Carolina. Look at this devastation, guys. Crazy. Look at these houses. I'm sorry. This isn't North Carolina. This is Los Angeles. This is the fires. I have another video up of the North Carolina. But look at this. Look at... How are those trees standing? This makes no sense to me in some ways. How are those trees standing right there? It looks like wrecking crews came through. Wild. I really feel... Yeah, blue. That's right. I really feel for the people because they've made it so that you can't afford house insurance. And then the insurance companies don't even allow you to have it for fire in these areas that are considered high risk because their algorithms tell them that there's going to be wildfires in these areas soon. All right, let's move on. OpenAI just launched its AI agent. They say it's insane. You can finish hours worth of work in minutes. 17 different jaw-dropping use cases that you don't want to miss. So you're going to hear a lot about this in the next couple of days and weeks. So Operator is an AI agent by ChatGPT. Browses the web, performs tasks. Crypto investment. Asks it to buy an iced coffee for Uber Eats. And other use cases surrounding that. So finding the best or cheapest health insurance. Automating tweets. Finding dinner reservations. Planning weekend trips. So basically, Operator is a way for you to use artificial intelligence as though you had a personal assistant that knew how to do pretty much everything. You give it access, it does everything. The Attorney General. This is Andrew Bailey. Now let's look up a little bit about him. Missouri Attorney General. Combat veteran. Father, prosecutor. Constitutional conservative, fighting for the people of Missouri. He says, we are demanding $25 billion in penalties for the harm that was caused to Americans. If China does not pay up, we will seize Chinese assets like, what does this say here? Like farmland instead. Now, I want you to remember that China owns massive amounts of farmland across the USA. And why is that? Why do they have so much farmland near our military bases? Why do we allow it? Okay, this was interesting. Okay, I want you to watch this with me. Let's get some comments on it. They say, for those who have been asking about who this guy is, here you go.
Next to Barron Trump. No one realizes he is the real winner. On Inauguration Day, Donald Trump rarely showed a warm attitude toward a stranger. This elderly man stayed close to Barron Trump, standing even ahead of Ivanka and others, indicating his significant status. Notably, both Barron and Melania paid a lot of attention to this man, frequently coming over to talk with him. In fact, this man, though not a Trump by name, is very important to the family because he is Melania's father. Victor Canavs is 81 years old, only 2 years older than his son-in-law Donald. Yet the new president holds great respect for this elderly man. When Melania gave birth to Barron, she refused to hire a nanny and decided to take care of him herself. So she invited her parents from Slovenia to help, and from then on, the Knobs couple became Melania's strongest support. Because of this, Barron is very close to his maternal grandparents and speaks fluent Slovenian with them. Donald Trump also appreciates the contributions of his in-laws to the family and respects them greatly. Unfortunately, Melania's mother passed away last year.
I think we're going to see a lot more of this dude.
Victor Canavs is currently the only...
Now, here's what happens in cases like this, okay? So you have a president or a politician or anybody, and they get power, right? They get power because he's a president or whatever position in politics he might be in. They're going to bring in their own crew. A lot of times it's family to do the things that they can't do. So watch this dude. Just like you know how Nancy Pelosi, if you watch, there's a couple of groups out there that watch Nancy Pelosi's purchases, stock purchases. And if you were to purchase those same stocks, I'm not an economic advisor. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving you any advice. But these guys do. And they, one for one, buy what Pelosi buys, and they bank. I'm talking their bag is full every day. Because Pelosi and the ilk will buy a stock knowing that they're about to put a law into place that favors that stock. And they'll do it over and over again. There's no shortage of corruption. So anytime you want to remember that it is really them versus you, the people, it really is. No matter how much we like one group or the other, no matter how much we like one person and hope that they have our best interests in heart, or we can only hope that they're at least closer to what we want for America than the ones before. That's all. That's the best we can do here. Let's see what else we got. This is an American trucker verifying the existence of extensive underground tunnel networks that stretch hundreds of miles from Washington, D.C. to Maine and Colorado.
A video was uploaded to YouTube of a trucker talking to a man about a massive underground secret city that was being built in the United States. They had to take this tunnel 100 miles in to reach this place. And apparently there were more of these tunnels. Check this out.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of video on these types of tunnels.
Goes all the way to Washington, D.C., huh? Goes all the way to Washington, D.C. Yeah, you security? Yeah. How far have you taken this down to, how far have you actually ran a load?
So what they're saying is that the truckers aren't even allowed to go from one end of the tunnel to the other. They go to a place and then they stop and offload. Then another crew picks it up and takes it further. Now, maybe, remember all the talk about the DUMBs, D-U-M-B, deep underground military bunkers? Maybe there's a lot more to that. It's all for the billionaires. That's right, Northern Hillbilly.
100 miles? Up to Maine? No shit. How many miles do you think that is?
Rob says he's been in some of these.
Man, that's unbelievable. Not to mention, I heard there's one that goes all the way to
Jesse
Colorado,
Ventura.
right?
Man, I wish Jesse Ventura had caught some of the exposure that he should have, but they shut him up. He was really out there talking the talk for a while, and they shut him up. I'm skipping playing Skyrim for this. Well, we appreciate it. Are you playing modded Skyrim or just right out the program Skyrim? Let's see what else we got. So the tunnels there. Somebody says, I don't want to hear this ever again, that the Democrats care about working people. President Trump just gave the people of North Carolina a microphone to tell their stories. Let's see what we hear. You know what I have to do for this, though? I have to invert it. All right, let's see what we hear.
I'm a Pastor Nix, our church right down the road. We had only purchased in May, and it's a big church. We're a small congregation, and I had people say, what are you going to do with this big building? And I said, only God.
Yeah, you're right. No one plays non-modded Skyrim. But I had to ask, because maybe you're just getting into it. Maybe it was free on Game Pass or something.
Knows. And we had our dedication, and the storm came the next week. And the outpouring of people. My son brought the first load of supplies. And from there, I stayed there for about 3 months. I slept on the floor for about 3 weeks because the need was so great.
I'll turn the volume up a little bit. That's about maxed out.
The people were so devastated. And I said, I want to be here for them. And they were coming in just day and night. So there's really no need for me to go home. But we had people from Kentucky, Tennessee, Texas, Indiana, Oklahoma, people from all over. We have not received any help, like from the government or anything. But I said, Lord, if you want us to do that, people
So they came from
all over the states.
You know what I like is that
No.
you can tell a businessman who has actually talked to his employees, right? And let's face it, the government and citizens, we're their employees. We're paying their bills. We're paying their taxes. We're paying them. So let's just look at it that Trump's the employer right now. He's the manager, and we're the employees. He's actually listening and not just blank staring. I respect that as a business person.
it was the locals.
Yeah, no problem, Darlene.
The locals and the people that knew us. And before the week was over, our church was so packed
Thanks, Ravioli.
with supplies we couldn't even walk. Even in our sanctuary, it was up to the platform of things, and in our halls and in our rooms.
Yeah, Drops. So Drops over here in the chat with us here talked about hauling to military bases. So don't give away anything that you needed a security clearance for, but let us know if you knew some things that were going on. Thanks, John. I appreciate it.
And we're just now beginning to get a little straightened out. But somebody said, how long are you going to be here?
So Vicky says, fooled by Trump. You guys let me know your thoughts. I think he's a businessman. I think you can tell he's a businessman because he's, an off-books mega millionaire. Now, does that mean is he my idol? No. Do I think that he's not going to allow anything that would harm the people? No, guys. Remember what the fast track. Remember who that came under. But is he better than what we had? Okay. All right. Now we got some good talking points.
So I'm going to be here through the winter and even on, if possible, because when you meet people that's been through the struggle.
Kelly's taking a nap.
I had
right
a
now.
little lady come up and I said, can we do anything special for you? And she said, I don't want to be selfish, but said, could I have a cup of coffee? And I handed her that coffee, and she stood there and tears just poured.
Okay,
she
so
said, you don't
I can see
realize
this.
how-
No other people are getting on here, but let's face it. The people in North Carolina absolutely ruined by what had happened there. Let's move forward. Marines constructing several tents, stretching out concertina wire on Imperial Beach, the border patrol station at Northern California. I think I can re-invert this for this one. Caffeine junkies don't fare well in disasters. So I'll pretend this isn't coffee then, but I've got a decent, caffeine's one of those things where I know if I don't drink it, I'm getting that signature headache. And it's going to make me a little angry. But I figure if I can't get it, and the position is that something bad's going on, and I've went through my stores, then being a little bit angrier than usual is probably a life-saving survival feature. It's probably a good thing I'm cranky, because that's going to put me in a position to want to get in a better position. Keep that backup coffee. That's right. Hey, NJ Prepper, thanks. We're glad you're here, too. So we've got our boys over here getting ready for the good old border lockdown. Just changing things up. Billionaire and Scale AI CEO has 50,000 NVIDIA H100s that they can't talk about because of U.S. export controls. Let's listen.
The Chinese
I think I've got to throw this around because you know how they do it, guys.
labs, they have more H100s than people think.
And these are the highest powered NVIDIA chips that they were not supposed to have.
Yes. My understanding is that DeepSeek has about 50,000 H100s, which they can't talk about, obviously, because it is against the export controls that the United States has put in place. And I think it is true that, I think they have more chips than other people expect.
We talked about
but
that at
also
the beginning,
on a go-forward
C-Web.
basis, they are going to be limited by the chip controls and the export controls that we have in place. The Chinese labs, they have more H100s than people think.
And these are the highest powered NVIDIA chips that they were not supposed to have.
Yes. My understanding
Okay, so
is
AI,
that,
we
is that
know
DeepSeek has about
AI's
50,000
coming for us.
H100s.
Now, guys, I don't know
which they
about
can't talk
you.
about, obviously, because it is
I'm already seeing it. Maybe it's because I'm, in a position to be looking at this type of thing. So maybe there's a little bit of that going on, but AI is really changing everything up. Throw some jobs down there. Okay. Let's just start down in the chat box. Start throwing some jobs at me. Like, what do you do for work? And I'm going to start picking apart because I program. So how I would use even current iterations of artificial intelligence to replace some of your work. Throw some of your jobs down there. No matter what it is, just kind of like the blanket part of it. Like, oh, I do this for this company. Throw security guard. Okay, so I'm going to write AI into the video camera feeds to start picking those things out that it would otherwise take your eye to see. We're already doing that with the military. They can see up to 2 miles. HVAC. AI is going to come in for you and me. If I'm not an HVAC guy, my air conditioning goes out. And I had this happen to me personally. I went to ChatGPT and I had it diagnose my model, what was happening, and it narrowed down everything. Now, it didn't get out there and replace what was going on. Thank you so much, Jill Bailey. The HVAC guy still had to come out and replace that. But instead of me paying his emergency service hourly rate, I told him exactly what the problem likely was. He came out, he was like, oh yeah, you're right. And I got off with like a very bare minimum amount of money. So it's going to take away the diagnostic section of that. EMT. Okay, so EMTs in the medical field. We already see these artificial intelligence operators, like Operator that just came out. They are running at PhD levels. So people are no longer just going to call an EMT. You're going to have an app on your phone that you put in your current condition, and it tells you whether that's a medical emergency or not. Diesel technician and mechanic. Again, we're not to the point where they can actually hands-on your engine, but what they can do is diagnose your problem. We know it with computers already. Look at how many people self-diagnose their engine problems with a computer module, a computer hookup. Family code word, yeah, thank you so much. Carpet cleaning, there we go. The low end. Now in China, okay, communist China, you can be a low-end worker as much as you want. So that's the garbage people. That's the bathroom cleaners. That's the house cleaners. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad job, and you could be a millionaire doing those things. Don't get me wrong. I'm not throwing any heat at that. But it's a low-end position. There's only so many garbage cans that need to be taken out, houses that need to be cleaned, foods that need to be cooked. It's lower end. AI is going to come for those last, after they get robotics involved. Wi-Fi is a weapon in everyone's home already. You're right. AI sucks. I mean, it is going to suck. Hands-on jobs are the safest for now. Let's see what else we've got. Custom cars and mechanic. We talked about that. Gardeners. Now, gardeners already got taken over by automation, right? We already know that automation took it over so that everybody couldn't just grow their own. House framing and interior trim. So that's a good one. Again, hands-on. Those hands-on are going to be last. Human resources. That one's going away real quick. Human resources is the company will put into Operator or put into that version of AI exactly what its do's and don'ts are. And then all you'll need is somebody, not a human resource officer, somebody at a data entry level person to input to AI human resource officer what the problem is. And that, with the full trust of the company CEOs and all of the board of directors, will be able to hand out a course of action. Let's see. Assistant manager. So basically, high voltage linemen. Yeah, those are all great hands-on things. And that's what you got to really consider, is that hands-on is going to be the last kind of holding point. But it's going to come for it. Window cleaner, day trader, you already know. Anything that has to do with tech or phones or anything. So all these other ones, carpenters, plumbers. Okay, plumbing. If I have a problem with my plumbing, it's not going to replace the guy coming out to actually fix it for me if I can't do it myself. But together, between AI and YouTube, you're only going to get through the people who either aren't willing to do it themselves, don't have the time to do it themselves, or are too afraid to fail to do it themselves. So people will use ChatGPT, they'll use Operator, they'll use all of these, and then they'll go try to do it themselves. Now, a lot of times, you guys know, they're going to screw it up. Their house will be out of square, their plumbing will be leaking. Then they're going to call you because they'll still need you for now. It's going to get to the point where they don't, because they're going to use artificial intelligence. Need more volume on the live show. So you see on my screen, I'm maxing out. I'm getting into the red right now. Is it not loud for you guys when I talk? Because I'm maxed out, and so it tells me I don't want to be blowing your speakers. So you guys have to let me know if it's not loud enough. So therapist, oh yeah, I mean they're already using it in therapy. They're already using it in everything on apps. Volume is good there. Okay. Police officers hear it fine. Hear you. Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay. So maybe just for some people, we need to turn up the volume, on your app. And I'll try to mix in when we play something in the background.
Against the export controls that
like
the
this
United
dude,
States has put in place.
that it
And I think
about
it is true
evens
that,
out
I think
with what I'm saying. So AI is coming. I think we only have, because they just released Operator, right? I think that was today. Let's see. AI Operator. Introducing the Operator Research Preview, OpenAI unveils new agent tool Operator. So this is happening within the last 48-hour period. An agent that can use a computer for you. So this was just released. I mean, we are right at the beginning of it. This is going to change a lot. I'm not saying Skynet's here. Take the phone, blast it, get rid of everything, go hide in the woods. We're not there yet, but AI is going to change the world way more than the Industrial Revolution did, because their goal, and if you think I'm wrong, please say it out there, but their goal is to need you less, but still get everything from you, because we are doing everything for them. We pay them the taxes. We keep their roads nice. We feed them their Wagyu beef while they tell you to eat bug-filled protein bars. We harvest their organic vegetables while they spray pesticides and poisons on yours. We, the people, do that for them right now. So they need us. But they want, in an ideal world of theirs, to need you less. News in 2 minutes. Man, I love the news in 2 minutes. YouTube did not love it. We got a lot of heat from YouTube for the news in 2 minutes. I don't know why, but YouTube did not love it. Okay, so let's get back. Let's see what else is going on. We've got just a couple of other things up here. This is Trump admitting on live TV that something hit or caused the fires in the Carolinas, or in California. Let's see. I'm sure I need to invert this.
It looks like, I don't want to say what it looks like, but you know what I'm going to say. It looks like something hit it. And we won't talk about what hit it, but it is a bad, bad situation. The biggest in the history of California. I think, has anything bigger than that happened in the whole country ever? It looks like, I don't want to say what it looks like, but you know what I'm going to say. It looks like something hit.
Okay, so what is he really trying to say there? I've been telling you that these California wildfires were a product, from what I'm seeing, of sabotage. Now, now don't get me wrong, the guys who they caught, the arsonists, those weren't Russian saboteurs. Those were not Chinese saboteurs. But let's just say for a second, you are a Russian agent and you have at your disposal 100 grand. Because what's money to these guys, right? You have 50, 100 grand. We've already seen the mercenaries walk through our borders with 4, 8, 12 grand in cash like it's nothing. They've gotten caught by our border patrol agents. So let's say you're a Russian agent and you got 100 grand at your disposal. Would you rather go light these fires and risk getting caught? Or would you go pay some local a grand, 2 grand, with the promise of another 2 if they go and do this? Just saying. Just watch out there. Build back better. Come on, baby, light my fire. Yeah, I mean, I just can't believe this. The devastation. A shocking CIA document reveals the U.S. military's plot to take out Americans. A classified CIA document. Good thing this is still inverted because they would not like these words. The plot included proposals like creating a communist Cuban terror campaign. Here we have full admission. This was back in 1962. Okay. I'll invert this one. Back in 1962, 1962. The Joint Chiefs of Staff considered the attached memorandum for the Chief of Operations Cuba Project, responding to a request at the office for a brief but precise description of pretext that would provide justification for U.S. military intervention. Okay. Imagine when AI realizes it's been inverted. Yeah, I better watch out, actually. So here we have admission that they were considering false flag events, right? Let's just say that. Do you think that back in the night between 1962 and 2025, they stopped? Do you think that somebody stood up there and they were like, you know, bro, that's a bad idea. We are not those people. F no. These people who pull, these aren't even the guys. This is the CIA. They don't even pull the strings. They're just the knuckles at the top of the puppet, right? Somebody else is pulling that puppet string. We never get to see them. But do you think that they stopped wanting to use some sort of false event to justify the really bad things that were going on? Now we've got to question every bad thing that's happened, right? Now we've got to question COVID. And we've got to question the weapons of mass destruction that weren't found. And we have to question Libya. And we have to question Syria and the Egyptian revolution. And we have to question the Russian-Ukrainian war. And we have to question the protests in the USA in the last 3 years. And that's really what it comes down to. Question everything. Because we don't know. They say inflation prices are raging in Russia. Potatoes up 100% almost. Onions up 48. Cabbage 44. Produce is not going to get cheaper anywhere in this world. Thanks, Bill Parks. Appreciate the call in there. This is Gaza after 15 months of war. Looking a little bit like North Carolina, California-ish. Look at what's happening here, guys. Let me see if I'm... Okay, I'm gonna invert this because I'm sure they don't want these. The devastation here. These were people's homes. Were they great homes? Probably decent. War knows no bounds. And so when it finally does come here in America, you and me, we're effed. We have nowhere to hide because it's going to come everywhere. Now, big cities like this, those are going to get hit first. The smaller ones, the rural areas, those will be left a little bit better. But you'll have pockets of devastation in there. So please, no matter where you're at, think about what you'll do in the event of this was a long duration emergency. Like, why did this house right here in the upper left-hand corner, why did it get saved? I don't think you can see it with what I've got there. Let me see if I can get in a little closer. This house right here. Who was living here? Why did this house get saved? I mean, does it have a blue roof? I don't know. We'll have to see. But why did this house get saved in all this devastation? You know? It's just crazy. Welcome to Just Extra Videos. Hey, member Beck Nelson, appreciate you. Thank you guys so much for all of our members who were like, hey, let's get this information out for everybody. Yeah, I know. And children. Everybody, man. It's just horrid. All this. And these were concrete places, guys. I mean, imagine what a American city will look like with all of our stick and matchstick homes that we have everywhere. We can't even stand up to a little long duration wind. You saw the New Orleans stadium fell down because of a little snowfall. You think we'll be able to withstand a long duration event? America will be screwed. Well, guys, I think that about wraps it up for us tonight. Thank you guys so much for everything that you do for my family. It's just it's just family here. That's the only people making these videos. So thank you. We're not hiring editors. We don't have other people working for us. It's just family. And sometimes our group members will come in or friends. They'll be like, hey, is there anything I can do? And we'll all do stuff together. But thank you guys for being here with us and for us. And having a great place on a Friday night that we can chill out and hang out. So thank you for everything. From my family to yours, please stay safe, remain vigilant. Don't forget, do your chores, in this last part, I'll be playing games with my kids tonight. Do your chores, do your preps, and then have fun. Stay safe out there. Much love from my family to yours. Good night and